Alright, big plans for today. We're gonna get the buggy out and move the Sunburn Nova back in. Or in. I guess it's never been in. We're gonna have to put some cardboard down because I assured my wife that I could work on the car in her garage without getting oil on the floor. And this Sunburn car kind of leaks a little bit. But we're gonna get it in here. We're gonna see if we can figure out why it runs so crappy. I got a timing light, so we're gonna check the timing on the motor because I just guessed. And I have amassed some parts. I bought some really cheap parts from Amazon, and we're gonna unbox those and see what we got. I literally haven't even opened the box yet. We'll check those out and see if we can make some power out of this thing. I've got some hopes. I have a theory. Take you along and show you what I think might be happening. If that's the case, things might get loud for a bit in here. But we're gonna get things opened up, get the buggy out, get the Nova in. Sunburn car will start. We literally pulled it up here from when you guys were with us the other day. I haven't touched it. That's a little lean.
It does got a little bit of a...
You want to see something sketchy? Check this out. Look at that tire.
Oh.
We drove home on that.
That's gnarly.
And we went and tried to spin donuts on it.
It almost worked. The throttle stucky.
The throttle was stuck. Alright, let's see why. The throttle doesn't appear to be stuck. So I'm not sure why it's revving up like that. This is just flooding over. Let's get the carburetor adjustment tool.
Oh.
Carburetor's loose.
Got some serious movement.
That's the actual body of the carburetor is loose. Wow. That's interesting. Fixed it. Okay. Seems perfectly placed, right?
Sure.
Okay, so here's my theory. I think this thing has the first gen catalytic converter. I also think it's plugged up because I think that's why when you get on the throttle, it runs all right to a certain RPM and then it just... So we're going to jack it up. We'll put a jack stand underneath it. Don't fret, we're not gonna die. We're gonna take a peek to see if it has a catalytic converter. If it has a catalytic converter, I think we're gonna do the proper thing and put a test pipe in it. We're going to jack this thing up, take a peek underneath it. We'll get you up underneath there and see what you think. is our first look underneath this car. If it was the other tire, that's how it should leave the line when we take off. Right now, it's still got 3 tires on the ground.
Sounds like it's gonna break in half.
Crusty musty?
And it's pretty gross. There's hair hanging off of crap.
Like from cats being up in it?
Maybe.
Squirrels?
Run over a body, maybe. Who knows?
Doesn't really show on camera very well. This right here is completely caved in. Like, I don't know what happened. Like somebody tried to jack it up on it, or they ran it off in a ditch, or I'm not sure. But that is definitely not happy. 100% some flow restriction going on that exhaust. That right there is a very early catalytic converter. So we're probably going to have to do some catalytic converter removal, because we don't need that where we're going. It's got some very primitive coil-over shocks inside of the coil spring with a couple helper springs in the front of, or pucks in the front of it. Those things are supposed to help it so that it's not quite as low. That seems like they're doing their job. Not at all. Should we show them what our bad decisions are?
Sure.
You haven't even seen the bad decisions yet, Ty. It seems like a good idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a Speedmaster intake, air gap. So super high, well, high rise for small block Chevrolet stuff. So we are going to do exactly the proper thing. And we're going to clean the top of the motor off. We're going to throw this guy on. And I bought something else. May have been some questionable purchases from Amazon. Should I go get the box?
Sure.
I haven't even opened it yet. And honestly, it was the cheapest that I could get here in the correct amount of time. There may be some modifications required, but I'll show you. You can see, still taped completely closed. Okay. Finest in Chinese patent infringements.
Holy crap.
So, this is a vacuum secondary 650 CFM knockoff carburetor. So I figured Sunburn Nova deserves the best, right? So we got the best, cheapest, non-name brand carburetor we could find on Amazon that could be here in the correct amount of time. We're taking you along for the adventure for today of the next upgrade to the Sunburn Nova. If this works well and the rods stay in this motor, I think we should up the ante. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. You got her. You about it. Okay. Race car stuff. So the bolt has finally been to the end of its thread. Ah, there it is. That's another crusty one. All right, but this intake manifold pops right off now.
Hmm.
Told you.
Isn't it crazy what happens when you take off all the bolts?
Take all the bolts out of it, it comes right out.
Oh, maybe.
So, I think there's a tube. Let's see. Memories start to come back to me on old Smogger stuff. I think there might be a tube that goes down inside of this port right here on the heat riser side, and it sticks down far enough that you can't pull the manifold straight off. Now I could be mistaken, because I make it a point not to work on pollution control small block Chevrolets because they run awful. Let's see if my memory's right. I'm getting old. There's that tube we were talking about. So that goes into a heat riser port, which has exhaust that is in there, and it gets that tube hot, and that makes the air temperature change for the choke. Our new one is not going to require that, so that comes out, but that's stuck down in there, and that's what was keeping us from getting the intake manifold to lift off. There's probably like 10 of you guys out there going, "Hey dummy, take the heat tube out of it." We did. We're good now.
Oh, there's some gunk edge.
That went right back in the carburetor.
That's what it likes. Ooh, yummy.
So these are those ports we were talking about for a heat riser. See all this buildup in here? This is all oil and stuff that's crossed over and got super hot and just turned into like
sludge.
It's like Coke. It's like well, you superheat oil and it turns into a solid. That's what that is. It's just completely.
Like
Yep. Yeah, and this one right here is the same thing. So
It
this
smells like bacon.
that port will just be like that. We'll take a vacuum cleaner down it and pull all that stuff out, but for the most part, that's what it is. Just crusty, poor design from Chevrolet. So we've made a discovery. This motor is not long for this world. My gut feeling is that whenever timing chain broke in this thing, that pistons hit the valve. It has a bunch of bent push rods in it. That generally tells me that the valves may also be bent in it because it smacked the push rod, got bent from the piston coming up and hitting the valve that was open when the motor was rotating it around. But this thing is bent a lot. Like this one's bent so bad it won't even move. It's wedged up tight against the head casting. This one's bent. You can see how bad it's bent. See it doing the hula shuffle over here.
It's been pretty good too.
That one's bent. That one's bent. That one's bent a little bit. So, that's that take it noise which you hear when this thing's running. It's not going to be worth spending a whole lot of money on this thing. So, we'll maybe we'll put the manifold on it, take her for a rip. I don't know. Maybe it's just better to punt and find a new motor combination for this thing. We're going to do some thinking. It's bad. It's really bad. Maybe we'll pull the valve cover off of it and pull a couple push rods out of it and show you how bad they're bent. But we're going to have to make some decisions pretty quickly. I think it's maybe terminal. But we'll be back with you in a minute. Hard to tell from here, but this push rod is bent really, really bad. And I want to know why. We have a theory that it may have just been a combination of the timing chain leaving the chat, or man, that sucker's super tight. It almost seems like somebody just cranked the lifters down to solid.
What's next, Cap?
Just lift that rocker off. It's gonna have a little half moon piece in the bottom of it. Should stay in there. Okay, pull that push rod out.
Looks like my finger.
That push rod is bent, like bent. So that's quite interesting. All right, so we're gonna get our intake surfaces cleaned up. All my scrapers are in my other toolbox, but we've made a file into a nice little scraper, nice and sharp on the edge. It'll work just fine. We're gonna get this cleaned up, blow it all down. We know that it has bent push rods in it. We've searched, nobody locally has push rods we can get today. So we'll get a set Monday. Let's get to the intake manifold and the carburetor, and we'll get this thing slammed back together. Try to get good solid bead all the way across. Silicone your corners. Usually that'll stick them in place well enough to get your manifold up in here and your bolts started. Alright. I was wanting to drool down the hill a little bit. We'll deal with that. Alright.
How much does that thing weigh?
Not very much.
Way lighter than I was expecting.
The old Speed Master. Alright, let's see if we can get this guy to stay where we want him. Okay. If you try, oh, nuggets. I don't know if this one's going to work on this. I guess we'll be able to put the manifold on when we put the push rods in it.
Sounds like a good time.
It just, when you think you got all the stuff gathered up and you're like, all right, I'm going to go do this job, and then
And you call your son over to film it.
yeah, we spend a whole day filming and get all the way to the point where we're ready to put everything back together and our parts don't fit. But that seems to be the way things go for us. I wished I could say I was surprised. But you guys will be like that, and we'll be back. We figured some stuff out. I bet you there's a couple of you that figured this out before I did. If you remember, we're back on the old Sunburn Nova, and we were going to put that air gap intake on it, and went to put it on, it didn't fit. I didn't pay much attention. I was in a hurry. We'd borrowed that intake manifold, went upstairs, grabbed it, and said, oh, well, this was on another car. It'll work perfect. It would have worked perfect if we had a big block in this car. We got on the old Amazon, and we ordered us up the cheapest high-rise manifold that was actually in stock. It's some Chinesium knockoff of a Victor high-rise, I believe. Some spacers. So let me pull this out of the box for you guys. So there we are. Great big old monster. It's got a water slowdown baffle in it, so you don't have to run a thermostat. We'll probably just steal the thermostat out of that nasty old manifold and throw it in here and hope for the best. But we did find out some interesting things. This side of the motor over here, almost all the push rods are bent. Called Paul up and I said, hey, why is all my push rods bent? And he said, that's because somebody put the distributor in wrong and had bad gas in it, and it backfired a lot and bit push rods in it. Weird part is push rods on the odd side of the motor seem all to be okay. And so once again, cheap car, we gathered up some push rods the same length out of a extra parts pile that we have friends that have laying around, and we're gonna show some old push rods in here and throw that high-rise manifold there on it and hope for the best. This one's not super bent, but it has definitely got some whoop in it. Alright, so you just watched us on the time lapse change out all of our push rods on the even side of the motor. They are bent. Let's see if I can find one for you real quick. I don't know if this is going to show up on camera or not, but they are super bent. So we got rid of those things. I just took and spun the push rods as I tightened the rocker arms down. It's a good way to get them close enough to start. Then when you fire the motor up, lifters all pump up, then you can go through, you back the rocker arm off till it clatters, tighten it back down till the clatter goes away, and then it's a quarter of a turn?
Quarter to a half.
So we got Pop with us today, hanging out. And tighten them down, quarter to half turn to pull the lash out of them, and then hydraulic flat tappets are good to go. And that's all this thing has in it. So I think we're down to time to drop the intake on here. We'll gasket in, build the silicone on the China wall front and back. Okay. This side up. Try not to get any wires or anything else stuck in here. And said that, and I got a wire stuck in there. There it is. I can see the holes. I can see the hole. I can see clearly now. The hole is there. May have to take the valve covers off of it and notch our valve covers some more. Take this thing off. There it goes. Wow, that thing's sticking up there a long ways. We're definitely going to have to take a grinder to the edge of the valve cover. Throw it over So we figured out we're going to need valve cover gaskets because the intake manifold riser hits our valve cover. So we're going to have to do a little grind trim on it. It'll be fine. But we will need gaskets, and I think we need to pick up, oh, we need plugs. Look at all these holes. So hole there, hole there, hole there, hole there, hole there I didn't see before. Those are all going to need to be plugged off because we're not running any heater or anything like that. This is race car stuff. So we're going to run to town and get some gaskets, probably some more silicone, because we're probably going to need to silicone the valve cover gaskets on, and probably some lunch. I'm hungry. I think Ty's hungry. He's starting to get grumpy. So we'll probably show you a little parts house action, but we're gonna get out of here for a few minutes. We'll be right back. All right, so we came to O'Reilly's because it's the closest parts house to us, and we're gonna see if we can't get enough pieces to put this thing back together. It's gonna be a crapshoot, but we'll piece enough stuff together. We'll be good. All right, let's see if they have what we need. It's all small stuff. All right, we got us some right stuff. If everything fails, we can just make our own gasket out of this. All right, so we're 50%. We got our valve cover gaskets and our right stuff gasket maker, so we can seal everything back up. But all they had was a hodgepodge of brass pipe plugs, and we don't want to look like a full patchwork quilt, so we're going to stop over here at the hardware store and see if we can't pick up some real plugs that will all look the same. But we'll stop there in a minute. All right, we forgot to film in the restaurant for you guys, but we grabbed some to-go food from a local place here. I guess it's a franchise.
Kind of franchise.
Seven Brothers. Some good food, like island style burgers. We're gonna go back to the house, scarf down some food real quick, and then slam this car back together and see if we can go blow some tires off of it. What do you think our chances are?
I don't know, man. That engine's still, part of me thinks it's still gonna run like a sewing machine, but
it's definitely currently a turd, but it's gonna be a turd with a lot cooler parts on it.
true.
So
Shinier parts.
let's see what happens. I don't like lettuce on my hamburgers. All right, we're gonna see if we can be lazy, because why not, right? Sunburn Nova deserves lazy. Gaskets we bought have these little load distribution pieces. I don't, spreaders. So we're gonna throw these in there, crank the valve cover down, and see if it will seal up without having to grind the crud out of it. I really don't want to have to grind on them. They do have a relief. Maybe they'll just bend up out of the way and we'll be good. We'll see how our luck runs. What do you guys think? Amazon carburetor. That one obviously didn't start. Amazon carburetor. Amazon intake manifold. Does the car run better? Clearance. I heard some crunchage. It must be good. This came with all kinds of hardware. Let's see if it came with hardware we can use. Okay. So these are carburetor studs. So they should thread down in here. As long as we don't drop one down the intake, we're fine. That's a little tight.
Guess if you thread it in the right way,
Probably helps.
it's fine threaded on one end and
Coarse thread.
on the other end. Coarse thread goes in the intake manifold. Good to know.
Now you know.
Feel educated?
Oh yeah.
Same thing.
Mm-hmm. Saw it. From up here
Check,
this
make
time.
sure it hadn't changed. Okie dokie. Your fuel line straight in instead of around the corner. It came with a pile of gaskets. Or came with a pile of gas. Came with gaskets. It came with a pile of jets. So you can change the jets on the carburetor. Every time I hit that thing, it cracks me.
Doing.
Reminds me of a Beavis and Butthead. Okay. All the plugs are in now. Shouldn't have any water coming out of the intake manifold anywhere. We're going to eliminate that hose. But I believe we're about time for a distributor.
Put that other valve cover on too.
That other valve cover, we'll set it on there, but we have to adjust all the valves on this side because we changed all those push rods. So it's going to leak oil, and I don't really want any more oil leaking in my garage than I already have, because I'm going to have to clean up a couple spots. Shh, don't tell my wife. We'd rather back it out into the field over here and let a little oil drip on the dirt. That way we can just cover it up. So the oil pump drive rod is down in there, and we know that the distributor was way off from the last guys that put it together. So we're probably going to have to get a big screwdriver and turn that pump rod just a little bit. I don't think I have anything long enough here. Nope, definitely not. Let me get a really long screwdriver. We'll just reach in there and turn it a little bit. Okay. So we want the flat to be pointed over there to that number 1 cylinder. So it's kind of in the same line as the distributor cap itself. See, I think I felt it turn. Hopefully we're close enough. Apparently we need to turn it some more. Apparently, I'm gonna have to lay on top of the car and look down in here.
Almost killed my soda.
That'd have been a tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
Would have gone on strike. Okay. I got it turned. That is it, right there.
That's what you wanted.
Yep, so that's number 1 right there. Just for the record, I told Ty he could cut this fuel line, but if he was going to cut it, I needed a camera, and he went and grabbed the camera. So I'm going to make this commitment here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this steel fuel line so we can run a piece of fuel hose around up to our inlet, and we should be fueled up. By the way, this is just the cheapest tubing cutter that we could find at Parts House the other day. I don't like spending money on stuff that I don't want. Like, I don't really want that tubing cutter, but I might need it, so let's go ahead and buy one.
Where are your tubing cutters?
My tubing cutters, some of them are in these boxes over here. And then my green toolbox, if you guys have watched some of our older videos when we were still in California, if not, you should go back and watch them. Oh, and you should click the subscribe button that's like right here. There.
There'll be a little card up there, and there'll be a button down there.
So, let's help you out a little bit. If you're watching this on your TV, you're going to need to go and click so you can see the little icon that has
Monkey.
the monkey on it, and say visit channel. If you're not on our channel, you'll have to say visit channel, and then there'll be a little subscribe right next to our channel information. That's how you subscribe from your television. If you're on your phone or your computer, it's really easy because right down here at the bottom, there's a subscribe button. So it might help you out. Ask me how I know. May have had to have some education on that from the editor. We're gonna open the garage door, roll this thing outside in case something goes south. We're outside because I hate to burn the house down. Okay.
Tyler powered. That's funky. Pap, 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 pap. Probably move it further, huh?
Yeah, it's also got a
It's gonna start spitting oil.
it's
right
got a
there.
rocker that's really loose. So
Is that
it's-
the pot?
yeah. I guess we'll push it back a little bit and then drive it over in the dirt. Okay.
You really hate that socket today, or the ratchet.
Alright, let's push it backwards and then I'll just drive it over here in the dirt.
Okay.
Hear that noise? Oh, living on a prayer. Alright, I think she's about as good as she's gonna get right now. So let's take it for a rip and see what happens. Doesn't really feel much better.
Yeah! Finally! Oh yeah! Hell yeah! Let's go!
shop and they just cut a hole in here.
So you're just bypassing the whole thing.
So what they're doing is letting exhaust pressure out through
front.
here.
Yeah.
Yep. Instead of making it go through the catalytic converter. So somebody knew
that it had the issue. Yeah.
So as you've just seen, way better. Still not great. It's still a small motor 305, but way better. We figured out catalytic converter is plugged up, so we eliminated it, like every good car should, right? Just gone. We've got a lot of work to do. We've got some big plans. We hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.